welcome to Cardiff City. What was it about the club that attracted you?
I think the potential of the club, the playing staff that is here, and the potential to add to that playing staff, and I think where the club is at, it just seems to be similar to my own situation, where there's a potential to achieve something that could be really special, and that's the thing probably that excited me the most in the recent period.
You've signed a 3-year deal. Has it been explained to you that this is part of a long-term plan, and is that what needed at a club like Cardiff?
I think as long as anything can be in football, I think the vision for the club is clear, and I've said previously my excitement of being here is really genuine, and I understand the challenges that we're going to face, but really there's a real sense of excitement around the potential that lies within the club, and that potential has probably come about based on the difficulties of last season. But from there, I think there's a real opportunity to grow the club with what we've got and do something really special.
Given your Manchester City background, can the fans expect a Guardiola type philosophy to play?
I think his influence on everybody that he comes into contact with can be huge. I think more than anything, though, he always spoke to me about being yourself and remembering who you are. What you want the people you work with to look like, and I have to remember where I came from, and now I'm in the capital of Wales with the biggest club in the country, and my job is to represent what those people want to see on the weekend, and it's a very exciting thing to try and put into practice.
But it's fair to say that you like that attractive style of possession-based football?
I would say I love having possession of the ball with a clear idea that we want to be as aggressive as possible, and to create an excitement for the supporters that they're genuinely looking forward to come to the stadium on every game day. I would say my journey has evolved to have a real understanding about how to be the most effective and efficient team that I believe the supporters want to see, and that takes time and an understanding of how we evolve as a coach and where I am today.
Is the expectation from Vincent Tan, the owner, to return this club at the first attempt back to the Championship?
Absolutely. Vincent was very clear about where he sees the club going, and how quickly he wants to see that. And my conversation with him was really positive, and really I told him I had a real deep belief in how to do that, and I think that's probably the most important thing. I think for everybody on the outside, including Vincent, the objective is to get to the Championship and beyond as soon as possible. For me, it's about having the understanding for the players of this is how we do it, so that when it doesn't go as we expect, as we know football is quite unpredictable, and we meet setbacks or things don't go away, we have a real reference point of who we want to be and a clear identity of what it looks like to see and play for Cardiff City. Will
you have money to spend to bring in the players or new players that you want to bring in?
The key message that I had in terms of the questions I asked when I spoke to the board was that there's no pressure to sell any player in the squad. And I think a key process of what we want to go through is anything that we can improve in the club moving forward. I have the absolute support of the people at the top of the club to do that, and that's going to be the mantra as we move through pre-season and beyond.
Regardless of new faces, the composition of your current squad, how happy are you with the players that you have at the moment?
Yeah, really pleased and really excited to start working with them next Monday and Tuesday and beyond. Probably the most important factor for me was the assurance that a large number of this playing squad, who I know really well, both players that I've worked with before and players that I've seen from the outside, are going to remain here. And any player that we do lose will be on our terms and not because we want or we have to sell players. So that's a really important part of what we want to do.
Because someone like Callum Robinson has already been linked with a move possibly back to Preston North End. That's all speculation and paper talk at the moment. But is he, for example, someone that you would like to keep at this football club?
Yeah, I think we should be really clear from the start. And you referenced Man City. Always, like, the idea is that we want to do things on our terms. It's a really simple process that all of the players who play for us have been really privileged to play for the club, and they leave on our terms if the club receives an offer that works for them, not the other way around. We're forced to do anything that we don't want to do, and I think that leads to a very simple process of working, and it makes the players really clear on what is best practice.
The club, before you were appointed, issued the retained list of players. So some players have already left before you came in. Two individuals, Joe Rawls and Andy Rinamot, are still in talks about potentially new deals and staying at this club. Can you shed any light on the future of those two guys?
I think just there's an awareness from me about both players in particular. I know Andy from when he was at Reading as a young player and watched his career grow, and obviously Joe Rawls has a deep relationship with this club and has been so good for everybody here. So I think out of respect for those guys, I think we have an obligation to deal with this situation really quickly and promptly. But at the moment, I've only just arrived yesterday, so I'll be having those discussions over the next 2 days. And I think, again, as a process, then to communicate that clearly with our supporters after we communicate with the players would be the best way to move that forward.
Just finally from me, your head coach. So how will it work above you in terms of recruitment, in terms of the day-to-day running of the club? Is there a director of football to come in, or is that in place already?
No, one of the key things for me was in my early discussions when I came to the club was the structure of the club. Like I said, when I was at Manchester City, the titles of the people at the top of the club can vary from club to club. For me, having the support system in place to provide the best possible structure for the club is paramount. And the conversations with Gavin Chesterfield, for me, were probably the most important thing in moving this process forward to then meet the people at the top of the club like Ken, Mehmet, and then Vincent. And Gavin's influence cannot be overstated because of his knowledge of the club and his awareness of what is coming through. And that means that the structures in place are really strong for me at the moment. But in line with the club, like we said on playing staff, anything that we can do to improve that going forward will be done.
Brian, thanks very much.
Pleasure, thank you.
Can I go? Hi Brian, welcome. Firstly, what's your sort of perception of the club from the outside coming in? It's your first week here, but leading into this process, what was your perception of Cardiff City and where they find themselves now?
I think my perception was of the only club from Wales in League One now, but the biggest club from this country anywhere. So I think the potential was the biggest thing that attracted me to these conversations in the first place. And beneath that, then you want to see that there's actual substance to that potential, and you can actually achieve what you believe you can. So the playing staff here is one that I see a real opportunity to improve them individually, collectively, and make them win essentially. And that's the whole point of why I'm here. And my job now is to unlock that potential and bring it to life.
Alex Robinson is somebody you know well. Did you speak to him at all, or have you spoken to him at all about his view on the club? It's probably useful to get a player's perspective.
I spoke to Alex multiple times over the course of when I was when he first came here, just to kind of help him really as much. But in terms of since I engaged in these talks with the club, no, I haven't. I just thought. I think there was a spell where he was sick of the side of me. I said previously I used to be on his case a lot about different things he had to do. So that was as a coach-player relationship. But I think he told me how special a club it was, and I suppose he did speak about the opportunity that is here to develop into a really high-level team, and that hasn't materialised over the course of the last 12 months, which leads us to where we are today, and probably the reason why I'm here. So I suppose it links into that idea of having a really special opportunity to do something special.
Just leaping back to Simon's question about the structure, your answer there just seems to suggest that you're happy with the structure that is currently here above you, because I know that's a criticism that some fans do level at the club, that there is a bit of a vacuum of footballing knowledge above. Yeah,
I've been impressed. I'm not just saying I've been impressed. Like I said, Gavin's understanding of where I've come from and the way that I work, and his interpretation of how that could work with this playing squad was of paramount importance to me when we had our first discussions. Then I took that forward, and like I said, when I spoke to Mehmet, to Ken, and to Steve, and then to Vincent, I think I've expressed my gratitude for being here. I think there was then a sense of me getting to have a feel or an instinctive understanding that passion was going to be shared at boardroom level. To do something special and to really let these young players at the club grow alongside the likes of Alex Robertson or the more experienced players that we've referenced. And at no stage of the process did I get any sense that passion wasn't shared, and it was a real motivation and hunger to take Cardiff back to where they've come from and beyond, and that was probably the most significant thing for me.
I know this club's placed a great emphasis on the younger players coming through. How much knowledge do you have of those younger players, and from your conversations with Gavin, is that something that excites you?
Yeah, I would say that I believe I have a deep understanding of a lot of those players coming through from the academy, and I've seen them flourish into where they're at today. I think even when I went to Man City or I went to Leicester, I think there's always bits that you hope and normally do surprise you. So I'm really curious to see the inner workings of those players and to see things that I can improve. I think my work would suggest over time that one of the areas of speciality is to improve those players and to give them a real sense of being valued by this club and an opportunity to progress their careers. I think if you start to really put that into practice, it can create a momentum that excites the supporters, and all of the feelings of what's gone on in the last 12 months can change really quickly into something really exciting and positive.
Casper, Lee Riley, your assistant coach, has come in. I'm sure the uninitiated won't really know too much about him. If you can explain what he will bring and why you brought him here.
I think essentially I believe that we have some of the best young talent anywhere in the country, and then to bring that to the maximum potential, you have to have the best coaches. I had a really open mind when I went to Man City that I was going to work with the best manager in the world and work with some of the best staff in the world. And the same at Leicester, but what I saw beneath that was, in comparison to Lee, and he'll be embarrassed when I say this, I never met a coach who was more adept at developing talent and having a tactile awareness of what was the most important things in league games, and essentially that would allow us to be a winning team as well, because I think when there's such a focus on developing young talent and having an environment of improvements, it's important not to distract from the fact that we want to win, and this wants to be a winning club that's going to be successful this season. To get promoted and to win the league, and there's no going away from that. And Lee provides all the qualities that I believe will be instrumental in allowing that to come to fruition on a game day.
And what are the other? Have you got any other coaches coming in soon? Anyone lined up to join that staff?
No, I think in line with the way I spoke about the players, I think the idea is clearly to come in and work with the structures that are in place. And if there's any situation where we feel as if we can improve that going forward, then that would be the idea as we progress. But at the moment, I feel as if the club is really well staffed and the structures in place are really strong.
So at the minute, what does the first team coaching staff look like?
At the moment, I'm waiting to meet the rest of the structure, so Johnny Ortiz, people like that, Gavin Ward, goalkeeping coach. I know there's discussions around him next season. His contract is expiring. But again, I wouldn't like to go into too much detail based on I haven't even met him yet.
Yeah. When we spoke to Mehmet, I think it was a month ago, he said the squad is quite big and you would have to chop some players. So what does the summer window look like for you? How many players are you going to have to let go and bring in from your perspective?
I wouldn't say chop, but
yeah,
I would say
my word.
No, leave that one to you. I'd say naturally, I would say always. My belief fundamentally is that the smaller the squad, within reason, I think the more it aligns to having a real culture of improvement and team spirit, and all of the players have to have a real sense of having a strong opportunity to play. So I think the fact that so many players have left naturally, I think is a benefit, and it gives us a chance then to make sure that the players who are, I suppose, at the upper end of that squad are the younger players who have a real opportunity to grow and to actually play. I think, if we're going to speak about the young players and having such an important role at this club, if we have too many players and don't get a chance to play, it's almost a contradiction of the way I see it. So I think for us to have a strong squad of the players that are here, but complemented with players who are coming through from the academy and even the younger ones, and then adding real quality means that we can be specific on what it looks like to have a really strong elite team in this division.
Great, thanks, Brian.
Pleasure.
Brian, how do you approach a team being relegated, going down to a division that most of the players don't know much about? You at least will have some inkling as Division 1. And then the pressure that's going to be on you from all the fans expecting you to come straight back up. And, that sort of demand is going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think the whole idea for the players to see this as an opportunity, and like I said, outside of the training pitch or the ground, I think everyone will have a perception that we're going to be favourites for the league, and we expect to be right at the top of the league and trying to win the league. But for the players, they will get the real substance from what we do in the training pitch, and building an idea and a way of playing means that whenever there is moments of doubt or it gets really difficult, the stuff that we do in terms of how we build the idea or the way we want to play is something that they can fall back on, and I think that is something that my experience tells me means that no matter what you're feeling during the season, you can always have confidence that we're going to achieve.
It's interesting that 3 clubs come up and they tend to have slightly different styles. Wrexham's style is certainly different to the champions and to the other team that come up. I mean, can you play young kids in an attractive, possession style and still win in that league?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about possession-based football, but we want to be effective and we want to always be looking to be on the front foot and trying to progress the game. I think if you have that mindset, there should be very little periods of the games where the supporters come to the stadium or away games and feel as if there's nothing happening. That doesn't mean it's going to be straightforward. There will be games where a young team can have ups and downs, but the idea is that if we're never taking a step back and we're always looking to move forward and to be an exciting team to watch who could score goals, then it means that the players have a clear reference points of who we're trying to be and what it looks like to play for this club.